I think you bring some good points up, particularly. I think just from a long-term perspective, and my guess is that we're going to have lots every time a zoning issue comes up, and any time there's any description of anything around multifamily, we're going to have lots of people come up and say, "You're against apartments. You don't want apartments." And I don't think that those people have been listening to the council and mayor truly about how they've been describing the vision for the city. Because I think you make a good point. Like, one of the things we said very clearly was basically 35% of the housing in Roswell is rental, and the vast majority of that is garden style apartments, standalone apartments. And to your point, most of those people don't enjoy a lot of amenities from the city. They don't enjoy the same lifestyle that many of us enjoy in the city. And what we've said was we did not wish to become a city of 200,000 people. We didn't want to wish to become, and I'm going to ask you a question, so I'm not firing at you. I'm not shooting at you, please don't. But I think it's interesting that you said, like, hey, why don't you do it in Crossville or don't do it anywhere? And I think you're going to see us, because I think we're going to have a lot more meetings like this, because the council has a very clear direction, I believe, in the sense that they are not interested in building high density, multifamily, standalone, new development projects in the corridors. They have said that they are very receptive with a plan to build mixed use projects with true pro rata shares of O&I, retail, mortgages, i.e., and then multifamily. And they've been very clear that they would do that, and that's as long as it's part of a plan in terms of new development. There has been no suggestion by anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere, to suggest that, and particularly as we redevelop, and the goal is to become an aspirational city, a continuing aspirational city. The issue that Janet Wells brings out so well is that Roswell has already participating in affordable housing much more than most of our sister cities, with the exception of Sandy Springs to the south. Dramatically more so than I would say our sister cities. So I think it's a misnomer to say that Roswell's not participating in it. Roswell's participated historically. Roswell's the only city on the north side of the North Fulton cities that has a housing authority, that participates in a housing authority. Roswell's long participated in affordable housing. So I reject the claim that there's the people up here that are anti-apartment or being put any kind of emphasis against apartments. A city does have the right to clear its own destiny in terms of how it wants to grow and how it wants to build out. And so if the city says, look, we don't want to line up new apartments, standalone apartments along our corridors, we don't think that's in the best interest of our city strategically long term in terms of aspirational values, that's not an invalid response. That's not hostile. The cities and this same leadership's also saying, look, we are willing and will do with the proper planning, and that's what the city council is doing right now, is to say we will do mixed use projects, true high density mixed use projects, but they got to be planned, they got to be intentional. But I really appreciate your perspective, Scott, in saying, look, and I think that's what if we're not saying it very clear, I apologize, because I think your point's well taken. Hey man, you're not going to do it in Crossville, then why are you saying you're doing it on 92 and 140 basically? And I agree with you, and I think the council agrees with you. And so I want to say to our fellow residents is, and I have a feeling we're going to have same 5 or 10 people are going to come up here and bust their chops every time about, hey, we're anti-apartment. We're not anti-apartment, anything but. But the apartments are not part of the long-term strategic growth of the city. There are some cities who make a decision to say, we're going to be high density, standalone, multifamily apartments. That's how we're going to grow. This city, Roswell, is not going to grow that way. We already have a significant proportion of garden style apartments, standalone single family units, and we are not trying to upset that apple cart. That doesn't mean, though, that because we don't want to add more, that we're bad people and then we're anti-apartment. We just don't think it's in our best interest. But I appreciate your perspective, because what I hear, Scott, is we're not being clear on that. We're not being clear on that on the RM piece in terms of the corridors. If I heard you correctly, did I hear you right on that?